the rules ever since, or I don't know. I haven't, asked anymore. But what they told me was that they denied my application because it was a new business and that you had to be in business for 2 years in order to qualify for that product that I was trying to get, which was like
The box truck.
the box truck.
Yeah.
So that deal fell through. We got, super frustrated, and it was just, disappointing. But
I was furious.
we was
I was on the road.
Yeah.
I was on the road when she called me.
Yeah.
I just left the house, and Werner had me out on the route, and she called me. It was nighttime, and she told me that we got denied, and like my heart just sunk. 'Cause the first thing I'm thinking, like, now I gotta drive for Werner
Forever.
forever. two years. I gotta drive for Werner for 2 years now. So it made me feel a certain type of way. I was mad.
When you get your hopes up high because you're like, oh, we have good credit, we have perfect credit, we got,
Got the
money
down
for the
payment,
down
all
payment.
of these
You're like,
things.
yeah, everything is gonna go well. Seneca has a lot of military experience. They're gonna, look at that. And they were like, no, we don't do that. So it was really disappointing.
And Navy Federal is supposed to be
It's
military
it's a
friendly.
military.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
you get a business loan. And
Yeah.
now, if I walked in there and said, hey, I want a new Mercedes, they'd
They
say,
will give you the
here
loan.
you go.
Yeah. For that, they
Take
will.
this debt.
Yep.
Now, if I'm trying to start something, to empower myself or us, it's like, hold on, wait a minute.
Can't do that.
Yeah, but
So, like I
Go
said,
ahead.
for us, that was the experience with Navy Federal. I don't know how it is, if they have changed anything or not. I don't know. I haven't tried anymore. So when that happens, we took some time to like analyze everything, the plan and everything, to move forward with it. So then we say, you know what? Let's just get a semi truck. And you're thinking like, oh, these people are crazy because the semi truck is a lot more than the box truck,
and
right?
this is when the rates for semis was high.
They were high.
It was like
yeah.
a 2016 is $110,000,
Yeah.
and they got 500,000 miles on it.
900,000, 500,000.
Yeah, so-
It was like super crazy.
It was crazy, these rates. These trucks at that time was having 400,000 to 600,000 miles, and they was asking 100 plus.
Yeah.
100 to about 120, 130,000
Yeah.
for a truck that's that's through its halfway point of its lifespan.
It was so crazy.
I'm like, no way we're gonna spend that much money on a vehicle that got that many miles. So yeah. So what happened after that?
So after that, so we said, okay, we looked around different dealerships in Orlando, the whole Orlando area,
Yeah.
and couldn't get nothing. Them semi trucks didn't make no sense. So again, we're like super frustrated. Like, what the hell? Like, we're not gonna be able to do this, And for me, as a wife, what I was trying to do, my goal was I had a goal that I wanted to bring my husband home. I wanted to bring my husband back home, to me. I didn't want him out there on the road working for these companies. They're having him running in all kinds of type of, different weather, blizzards in the mountains, nighttime and all of that. And I was not okay with that. It was what we needed to do at the time to get us to where we was going. But I was just like, I need to bring my husband home. So I say, you know what? Let's understand that we're going to have to pay a lot more money for a semi, than what we initially thought. Like, in my head, I had a budget, and I was like, all right, we can spend about $80,000, to purchase a semi. Well, $80,000 was not going to get you anything, at that time. Like, you couldn't get.
It'll get you a 2013 with 700,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
That's what 80,000 at that time. $80,000 would get you that. And I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was so disappointing.
The beginning of 2022, the rates were outrageous.
So then what we did was, I posted, and for this I will always, forever be grateful. I posted on one of the truckers page on Facebook, asking like, does anybody know, where is a good place to purchase a semi? And then this gentleman, I cannot remember his name, but this gentleman messaged me and he said, hey, I recently purchased my own semi and I got it through Werner fleet sales, so you might want to check with them. They have good trucks. And I was like, oh, what? Hold on. So I got all the information from him. I get on the internet, I check on it, I get a hold of the manager for Werner fleet sales, and I told him what I was looking for. I said, this is what I'm looking for, this is how much I'm looking to spend. Do you have anything, for that range? And he said, it's going to be really hard to get you a good truck for that price. And I was like, wait, what? I said $80,000. And he's like, yeah, no, it's the prices are pretty high right now.
Yeah, I mean, the trucks from Werner, because, obviously I worked at Werner. Those vehicles, they get rid of those trucks after X amount of miles. And usually that range is like max 400,000. So at that time, if you get a vehicle that has like anywhere from 200,000 to 300,000 miles on it, the price is going to be even higher.
Yeah.
So yeah, asking for $80,000 for a good semi, it was like unlikely, at least during that time. I don't know what the market is now. I'm not looking for trucks, but at that time it was like
it was crazy.
Yeah. So 300,000 miles on a semi is actually considered still relatively new, according to the companies.
Yeah.
And Werner, they take care of their vehicles. They got a whole maintenance fleet, everything. So you're not getting no junk. You're getting something that's, low mileage on it.
And you get all of that. You get the maintenance record that comes with it. You get all of that, so you know that they keep up with the maintenance and all of that stuff. So after that, so I told the fleet manager person for Werner. I said, okay, how much do I need to get a truck with less than 300,000 miles or no more than 300,000 miles? So he said, okay, I'll send you the ones that have 300 or not more than that. So he sent me the list of it, and I like almost had a heart attack. So they were like $120,000, $130,000, $140,000. I'm like, what the hell? Oh my God. It was insane. But like I said, at that point, I was like on my last nerve with things, trying to build up the business, submitting all the paperwork, getting the authority ready and all of that. And I'm like, I want to do this, but this is crazy money. So, I called Seneca. Seneca's out on the road with Werner. So I call him and I say, hey, this is what it is. It looks like they had one that is a good one. It still has warranty. It has 300,000 miles. It's nice. It's a good truck supposedly. And then, I was like, what do you want to do? Like, do you want us to get it? And he's like, how much is it? I'm like, it's $140,000.
Oh my God. And I told her, I said, it's up to you.
So he was like, it's up to you, whatever you think. Like, do you think that we should get it? So, just to...
I wanted it.
He wanted it.
I wanted it, but most of the funding was not coming from me. So I'm like, do you want to do this? But you know how far we can go with this.
Yeah.
So
what it was, I going back to, me saying that, I worked, for the military, cutting hair for so many years. And, I said I was always really frugal. So I was able to save a lot of money, like crazy money, but enough money throughout my years of cutting hair to where I had the money, saved up. I had the money in my savings. It's been sitting there for a minute, and we had talked about investing it in something, but I just never got to it. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to open up a big barbershop or get a chain barbershop or something like that, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do at that time. So I just left the money sitting in the bank. So when this opportunity came with the truck, I told Seneca, I said, you know what? I don't mind pulling out, $140,000 out of my savings so that we can go and purchase this truck. Like, I want to buy this truck for you.
Start a business.
To start a business. I want to bring you home. I want you to be home. So I don't mind, purchasing the truck, pulling the money out of my business, and then we can replace it as we go, because we knew that the potential to make money was there.
We had the potential to make more than 140,000 per year if we had our own paid off truck. We already did the numbers, watched 1,000 YouTube videos. We did all that stuff. So we come to the conclusion, like, hey, if we get this truck, it's paid off, we can make really good money. And he was like, all right. And I just let her know. I said, hey, you sure this is what you want to do? And she said, yeah. And I'm like, all right, bet. I mean, I feel like it ain't nothing wrong with giving yourself a loan.
No.
Because that's how we look at it. We don't look at it as like we spent all of this money. It's like, no, any business that you start, you don't have to get a loan from somewhere. So it's like, you might as well fund yourself.
Yeah, why not get it from your own money? You don't got to pay interest on it. Like, we're not paying no interest on. We have a paid off truck. We have a semi-paid off trailer. I'll explain that later. But we're not paying interest on.
I don't look at it as like, we got a new truck and that's it. It's like, no, we got a loan. I look at it as like, I got a loan and I still got to pay this off.
Yeah.
So I never had a mentality like, that's it. We got the truck, that's it. It's like, no, we got to recoup that also.
Yeah.
We got to recoup all of the equipment that you buy. You got to get that money back. You got to get it back.
And like I said, for me, money comes and goes, and obviously money is important for everybody. It's important for me. I come from poverty, basically. I never had anything growing up. Really poor family and all of that. So that's the reason why I have always been super frugal and big on saving and all of that. But I understand that money comes and goes, and you have to send your money out there to make you money. And for me, having my husband at home was more important than having this money sitting at the bank. Like, honestly, that's the reality of it. Like, money didn't have the value that having my husband at home had for me. So, and understanding that, we talked about it. This is a business. We're partners. We're doing this together. We're going to do it together and hope for the best. We have already done all research on everything. I'm like big on researching. Like, I am so...
When she wants something, she gets locked. It's like a missile locked on its target, and she has tunnel vision. Like, honestly speaking, the paperwork that she was doing to get the business started, the owner operator and all of the paperwork that's involved in trucking, she did it all on her own.
And let me remind
she just researched. She just researched. That was it. At that time, I was on the road working for Werner, and every time I called her, she got some new information. Okay, we need to do this, we need to do that. We gotta have X amount of dollars for this, X amount of dollars for that. And I'm just like, this is lawyer talk. This is like the stuff you call professional people. You gotta pay them to give you this information. So she was super locked in once we decided this is what we're gonna do, because the goal shifted from box truck, we had to scratch that, now it's semi. So it's once she gets locked in, that's it.
Yeah, like I said, I'm like super big on like doing research before you get into anything. I'm for me, I have to understand, and things have to make sense for me to wanna invest my money on anything. If I don't understand it, then it doesn't make sense in my brain. I can't do it. So, I did all of my research, with trucking and, the FMCSA, learning all of the regulations, DOT and all of that.
She knew it.
I knew it all of
More
that.
than me. And I drove, and I went to school for it.
Yeah.
And she knew stuff about the regulations and rules of states and all kinds of things. I'm like, word?
Yeah, like I've been telling Seneca.
They do that?
I've been telling Seneca all these things, and he's looking at me like, what are you talking about?
I tell her straight up, I said, all you need is a CDL. You'd be like a master driver.
I don't want to.
With your knowledge, and all you got to do is just drive trucks. You will know practically everything. The things that experienced drivers only can know.
Yeah.
You could give them advice, actually.
But yeah, that was, that was how we, got started. Like, I did reach out to my accountant, and I asked him, how much will you charge me to do all the paperwork for me to set up the authority? And it was like $3,000, $2,500 or something like that. And I'm like, oh, you're out of your damn mind. Like, like I said, I'm frugal. I'm all about like do it yourself, and you can do it yourself. And that's what I did. I'm like, no, I'm not paying that money. So, we got it set up and all of that. So we talked about the price of the truck. Seneca asked me like over and over, are you sure you want to pull that kind of money out of your savings and, spend all of that money? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like, I already made peace with it. Like, I'm okay with it. Like, let's get it done. So then I emailed the Werner Fleet sales manager, and I said, all right, we want this truck, send me the paperwork. So he emailed me the purchase agreement. I signed it, and send it back to him. He needed like $1,000 deposit or something like that, to hold the truck. Because let me remind you, Seneca's out on the road somewhere. I don't know where. I'm in Florida. I still have a full-time job. I work somewhere a full-time job. I can't just get up and go. So I sent him the $1,000 deposit to hold the truck. A done deal. I signed all the paperwork. The truck was in Arkansas. So now somehow we have to make it to Arkansas to pick up this truck. But Seneca's not here. So I called Seneca, and I'm like, all right, I just purchased the truck. Like, it's a done deal. And he was like, what?
I'm on a roll.
I'm like,
I'm hauling a load for Werner. And she said, hey, I held the truck. I gave him the deposit. I'm like, this is it.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm like, okay, so I just purchased the truck. It's a done deal. Deposit is made. The paperwork, I already signed it. But you have to make sure that you make it home tomorrow night.
No, it was that week.
It was that. So my days off from work were coming up. That's what it was. Like, I was getting 2 days off of work, so my days off were coming up. I'm still cutting hair, so I have a full book of clients that I can't just cancel their appointments. I was completely booked, for my days of work. So I'm like, I can't take off those days. We gotta make it work during my days off to go pick up this truck. So you gotta get home. And then there's notification. So I'm like, you gotta get home by this day. It was only like a day and a half or 2 days, for that to happen.
I think it was like max 3 days I had to get the house.
Yeah.
And we had to get on a plane, fly to Arkansas, and get this truck.
So that I can make it to work on time for my next day at work. So I don't know how in the hell we made that happen.
I told Werner, I said, that's it. Just bring me home. That's it.
Yeah.
And they try to hit me with oh, come on, man, we give you this account. The account that I wanted with Werner was the Coca-Cola account. They never gave it to me. But when I said, okay, I'm done, the fleet manager was like, hey, we got that Coca-Cola account you wanted. I'm on the phone like, oh, so this whole time you know I wanted it and you never gave it to me? All right, bet.
Crazy.
I said, it's cool, it's all right, I'm done. So
yeah. So then he told them that he was quitting the job and all of that. And the whole time that I'm like handling the deal with Werner, they have no clue that the Seneca was my husband and that he was working for them. Like they didn't know because I purchased the truck under our business name. So there was no personal name other than mine, to sign the documents. So they didn't know.
It's weird. Like, when we purchased the truck, it was at a Werner terminal that I used to be at in Arkansas.
Yeah.
I've been to that terminal about 10 times. Yeah. So when I walk in that office or that room to get the truck, they had no idea that I was a Werner employee like a couple days ago.
I know.
So it was weird.
It was super weird. And
when we about to purchase a Werner truck.
Yeah, from them. And you're quitting the job on the spot, basically, with like short notice, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
And so then they asked me for a copy of the CDL driver that was going to pick up the damn truck. And I'm like, Seneca, they're going to know that you work for them. So I'm like, I'm praying to God.
They might hate on us.
I know.
You can't buy this truck, you quit.
I know. I'm like praying to God that the fleet manager didn't know nothing about the drivers, to look up the name or anything. So I sent him the Seneca's, CDL.
I don't deal with them. I only dealt with the mechanics.
With the mechanics.
And that was it.
Yeah, so
that particular window I never went to
Okay.
when I was an employee with them.
So I sent, the Seneca CDL to them, and I said, yeah, this is, who's going to be picking it up with me, and, all of that. So they didn't say nothing. So Seneca made it home that night, and then so I booked the plane tickets that night, that same night. And then we got on the plane at like 5 in the morning that next day. We flew to Arkansas. We get there, we took an Uber to the Werner terminal. We get there to pick up the truck. And that same day, we were on our way home with a whole goddamn semi-truck.
Drove it home.
And we was like, I think that's when it hit me when we got there. And I had to hand them the cashier's check for $140,000. I was like, I was like, did I just like spend that money? And then I walked out of the building, and I saw the truck sitting there waiting for us, and I'm like,
I chipped in a little.
You did. No, you did. Like, yeah,
I chipped
you
in
did.
like 7 or 8.
Yeah, you did some. Yeah, it was not all of my money. So, but
mostly.
But so we get out there, and I'm like, did I just purchase a whole semi truck? Like, what the hell did I just do? It was like that shock at the moment. I'm like walking around the truck, like, Seneca, did we just like purchase a whole semi truck? It was like happiness, but like that reality when it hits you, hits you. That's what it was.
And
for
I'm
me.
driving. I'm like, yep, sure did. We just bought a whole semi.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
It was pretty interesting, how we just went with all of that and got it done.
Yeah, it was a very interesting story to tell. When I sit back and look at it, I'm just like, that was a very, I don't know, just a weird part of my life, but a good weird.
Yeah.
It was like all these events happening, and we're trying to make things happen, and it actually worked out. Everything worked out.
Like you.
Somebody told us no a couple times, and we were just like, all right, on to the next thing.
Yeah.
On to the next thing.
We just did it, only because one bank is telling you no, you can't do it. Because I was like trying not to spend, all this money. Like that was never the plan at the beginning, to spend all this money. The plan was we're going to get a loan and take it from there. But a bank telling us no, like, didn't stop us from trying to look for the next option on how can we actually do it, how can we still do it after they told us no.
Yeah, I mean, even a situation with the business line of credit.
Yeah.
When you walked into the bank and you asked them for a business credit card, and the guy said no, you're denied. So you went home and got online and applied for the exact same card and got approved. And it was in the mail, that week or something?
Yeah, so that was with Chase.
People, they like to hate on you, man, when you walk in there.
Yeah, sometimes some of these bankers.
They come to tell you no, and it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, and like
go the other route.
Yeah, sometimes some of these bankers, they just be, just that type of person that, they see. I'm not saying, that it was due to ethnicity or whatever, but I'm saying that it was due to ethnicity. So I walk in there, we
know the game.
Yeah.
So
I walk in there, I think I had just come, I was coming home from the gym, so I walk in there looking all kinds of homeless here, and I just walk in there, it's my money, it's my credit. So I walk in there and I told him, I said, I would like to apply for a credit card for my business. He gave me so many hoops on reasons on why, like, I couldn't do it, like because of this, because of that, where is the other person. Like, it was a whole bunch of nonsense, and like everything that he was saying, it just didn't make sense to me. And I was like, okay, never mind. So I walked out of there feeling like so disappointed, because I had bank with Chase for many years, and I had a lot, a good significant amount of money with them, for a long time. So I was like, and you're gonna deny me, this? So it was really disappointing. However, I had all this credit with them, under my personal name. It was just the business that they were like trying not to deal with, or I don't know. So I get home, I'm like super angry about it. I go online, to Chase, and I looked up the application for what I was trying to do, and I applied for it online. Boom! I was applied like within seconds for like, how much was it?
Yeah.
Like how the
Was it the 20?
it's about 20. It's like 18.
20. Which one was it?
The Chase Inc. It was for the Chasing. So, anyways, it was like they
That was
approved
like
me like
25.
immediately for like $25,000 on the business, and I was like, so I called Seneca, and I'm like super angry, and I told him, what had happened, and I'm like, I went and did it online, and they approved me like immediately, like they sending it on the mail. So keep an eye on those bankers. Like, only because one of them is telling you no, you can't do it, that doesn't mean that you can't do it. You go and find a way to do it. There is ways to do it. You just got to do your own research. And like I said, I research everything. If you tell me no, I want to know why. And if you're not giving me the answers on why you can't do it, then I'm going to go and find it myself. And that's what I did.
Yeah, then after that, she told me to apply for one.
Yeah.
Because, I feel like at this time, I finally got my credit straight.
Yeah.
I feel like, hey, I'm in the 700 club too now.
Yeah.
I can apply for some things. So she told me to apply for another business line of credit, and I got approved. Not for as much as she did,
But still,
it was a
yeah.
good amount of money, and I'm like,
That helped us a lot with
Word.
starting the business.
Yeah.
And so what we did is, we're partners in the business, so both of us have ownership of the business. So I was able to apply for some, business credit under, like, only using me, and he was able to apply for business credit for the same business using him, but it's under the business. So it was like, you're getting twice, the credit, the amount or whatever. So, and believe me, when you're starting a business, you want to have either a lot of lines of credit or have a lot of liquid, which we didn't want to be using liquid anymore after spending all this money in the truck.
spent a lot of liquid,
Yeah.
on equipment. And as far as like the credit cards, we did that, with multiple, I guess, companies.
Mhm.
We did a Navy Federal.
Yeah.
We did 2 Navy Federal.
You did one and I did one.
Yeah,
With Navy Federal.
it was 2. Then it was 2 with Chase.
So get this.
Maybe 3. I don't know.
Navy Federal, they didn't want to approve us for $50,000, for $60,000 to purchase a box truck, right? Because we was new to the business. However, again, I have good credit, so I went and applied for credit cards, business credit cards. I got one for $25,000. I got another one for $15,000, and then I have Seneca apply for some, and he got approved for some. So all together, we ended up getting what, like $40,000 or something?
About 40 to
About
50,000
within
just in credit
Yeah.
in less than a month.
And it was like in a week, like
It might have been like,
Like
a
in
week.
a week,
We were just
yeah.
like, apply for this, apply for that.
Yeah.
And because we knew we was going to need a cushion just in case something happens to the truck. And it did. Multiple times. And those credit cards came in handy because we didn't want to keep grabbing liquid, cash money. If, for people who don't know, but we don't want to keep grabbing cash money because you want to utilize some credit cards. You got high balances on them, and
Yeah, and like the credit cards, like I only apply for credit cards that give you, like 0% interest for like 12 months, 24 months. I disclaimer, like I am not telling anybody go get a bunch of credit cards and use them and then this and that. That's not what I'm saying. I only apply for credit cards that have 0% interest for 12 months, 24 months, and whatever I'm going to use them for, I break down those payments for 12 months to make sure that that one thing that I'm using them for is paid off and I don't have to pay all of this interest rate, and end up paying more at the end of the day. So that's how I handle my credit cards. You got to be super responsible. You got to be on it to make sure that you're not putting yourself in a lot of debt that you can't get out of it later. So don't come at me saying that I'm recommending that, because I'm not, okay? It's unique to everybody's situation. If your situation is the ideal and you're responsible and all of that, That's between you and God. I'm not telling you what to do.
Bro, God into it. God and your credit.
But that's between God, you, and your credit. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, them credit cards come in handy when those, your truck break down. You just need equipment here and there. You just understand that, when you swipe these cards, eventually you got to pay this money back.
Yep.
However,
It's not free money.
When you needed that money, it was there. When you needed that credit, it was there. So, yeah, everybody's situation is different, but for our situation, starting a business, we wanted a cushion.
Yeah.
And we had about 50,000 just in credit. And that helps. But the start of it is you have to already have good credit.
Exactly.
That's why I would suggest anybody getting into this business, fix your credit first.
I will say the same.
And you could do exactly what we just said. Exactly as far as like the credit card aspect of it. You gotta have a cushion for that for your vehicle. Whether it's fuel, equipment, just anything. So is the food almost ready?
It's ready. It's being ready. It's being ready. Sorry.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so anyways, all of that happened. Now we got our truck. We got enough lines of credit so that we're not using liquid anymore. We're not using cash anymore. What do you need?
No.
Oh, okay. So we're good. We're running loads and and all of that. Doing power only. And then we decided that we wanted to do flatbed step deck. To be more specific. So we're like, we want to purchase a step deck, but how are we going to purchase it? We don't want to use any more liquid, and we don't, the bank is not going to give us a loan to get, a trailer because we're still not 2 years in business. So then we say, you know what? We have all of these credit cards that we recently got, for the business. So how about, liquidating all of those credit cards to purchase the trailer? You can tell them what we did. I gotta find some stuff.
Yeah, so before even coming up with the idea that we was gonna step deck, we was thinking about reefer. Like anything, you gotta research it, run the numbers, watch 1,000 YouTube videos, and kind of like decide really what you want to do. And we went out and we met with people. We looked at reefer trailers, and we was thinking about it, and we come to the conclusion that reefer drivers usually drive at night, and I don't want to drive at night. I don't want to be up 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning making stops to this store, that store. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm not built like that. I'm not a real good night driver. When my body shuts down, it's down. So we came to the conclusion, like, all right, forget it. We're not doing reefer. Definitely when doing dry van, it's not enough money behind it. For us. So we thought about flatbeds. Looked at flatbeds. It was like, okay, flatbeds kind of, the rates is comparable to the reefer. But we was like, what, then we researched more. Then we started thinking about hauling not vehicles, but heavy equipment. So we started looking at step decks. And step decks, they haul, construction vehicles or whatever. So cars, anything, connexes, containers. And we felt like that's a good space to be in. Plus, when you have a step deck, I mean, you could say flatbed, but specifically a step deck, your competition is less. We see 1,000 trucks out here with dry vans. All of these dry vans are competing. The less competition you have, the higher they got to jack the rates up. So, and I'm not saying, step decks and flatbeds, they don't, feel the blunt force of these brokers adjusting rates. Yeah, we feel it too. But, it's like, let's do step decks. I have experience in the military doing practically the same thing. Chains, straps, tarps, binders. I'm like, I did all of this stuff in the military. And it was not hard. Yeah, you got to break a sweat, but I mean, if they gonna pay me to do it, I might as well get paid for real and not, be on that military pay like when they was paying me peanuts. but and I ain't dissing them, I'm just saying, just real, real talk. but yeah, so we decided to do step deck, and I'm like, step deck is not hard. It's a little bit of labor, but it pays more, and it's a good lane to be in because there's less competition. In a nutshell. And when we finally got the step deck, that's really what we experienced.
So we, with everything that he said, so we're like, okay, so we're gonna do step deck is what we're gonna do. So we gotta purchase a step deck, right? So again, I go crazy doing, research, trying to find one. There's nothing available. Nobody has a step deck. I called so many different places, asking, are you going to get any anytime soon or anything? And they were like, oh, we haven't got any in a year, and we don't think that we're going to be getting any in like 6 or 8 more months. And we're like, what the hell? Like, come on now. So, again, really disappointed, but, we didn't give up. I continued to research and make phone calls and all of that. And nothing worked until I said, you know what, let me start looking on the Facebook marketplace. And that's what I did. I set up my settings, set up my notifications for around the area in Orlando. I'm like, something has to come up. So I will check every single day, every morning. That was the first thing that I did when I got up. Check and check and check, and nothing. One morning I see this step deck that they had just posted it. They have pictures and everything. It looked like it was in good shape and everything. The posting was in Spanish, so I'm like, oh my god, everything that it says, it sounds like it's a good one. So I told Seneca, and I'm like, look, and they had it posted for $35,000. So I'm like, okay, let me call the guy. So I called the number, I call and call, they didn't answer. So I sent that number a bunch of messages, and I'm like, hey, I want to get your step deck. I'm right next to Orlando. If you're in the area, please let me know and I can come and look at it today. And I have the money. Lies, I didn't have the money. I did not have the money.
She was capping.
I did not have the money. Big lies. I did not have the money to purchase that step deck. So, the guy didn't call me, didn't text me right away. And then that day, before that day was over, he sent me a text message and he was basically telling me, chill, lady, I got your phone calls, I got all your text messages. I will call you when I have time. I'm driving. Basically, that's kind of what he said in a nicer way. And I was like, okay. So then he finally called me that night and, talked about the step deck and all of that. And I was like, okay, we can come and look at it tomorrow, first thing in the morning. So we go there the next day. We looked at the step deck. It was perfect for what we was trying to do. It was, nice looking, clean. It was in good shape. So now I'm like, oh my God, we want to get it. So, I told Seneca, yeah, this is the one. The guy didn't speak any English. Seneca doesn't speak any Spanish. So the deal... the deal is between me and the guy.
I don't know what's going on. I said gibberish.
Seneca's just standing there like, what the hell are you saying? So I'm like, trying to close the deal and everything. So the guy, he was like, I just want to make sure that you really want to get it, because he showed me on his Facebook post, he had 100 and something messages, of people inquiring about the step deck. Some people saying, I have the money, I can come and pick it up today. When can I pick it up? I have cash. And I was like, oh my God. So I'm standing there in front of this guy, and he's like, I just want to make sure that you really want to get it, soon. I'm trying to get rid of all this equipment and stuff. And I'm like, I literally grabbed his arm and I was like, listen, And I got like, face to face with him, and I was like, listen, I want to get it. I am going to get it. I have the money. However, it's just going to take me a couple days to get the money. If you can just wait a little bit, like I promise you that I am going to get it and I'm going to bring you cash. And he was like, okay. I said, I'm just having to deal with the bank. I got to handle some things